Tyson Fury, he's such a hard dude. Tyson Fury, he's such a very tough man. Did you see him in the fight last week against your mom? Give him an uppercut, clock right hand. Pushed him over on the way to Bobo's. Liam Murphy, what's the crack, lad? Oh, I'm well enough. Fair play to you. Thanks for asking. Oisin Campbell, Story Maloney book. Long time no see you. From Vibery, from Shawneen. Shawneen's a good lad for the Twitter. He told some lad to fucking cop on yesterday, and I was like, that'll do. Fair play to you for the fucking dinner there, Perez. Happy birthday, Chris Perez. What's the crack, Shams? Any fucking crack? Happy birthday to Christine Perez. How are we doing, Chris? I had a good long chat with Chris Perez. If anybody haven't seen the thing that I did with Stevie Kelly recently or last year in Stockholm, featuring Chris Perez, it's up on his channel, Pez Power Productions. Go and have a look, man. He's one of those American lads. He came over to Europe and he was like, you got cars over here? Dr. David, how are you doing, brother, man? I need to get back to you, boy. I need to get back to you. I've been very, very busy the last couple of days, but I haven't forgotten about you. Fuck. Doing a Zelensky on it, man. I just didn't last long, did it? Until I had to fucking say, then I had to spoil it all by saying something stupid about geopolitics. Clean Bozeman, Chris J, good to see you. Dr. David, Ronan Cullen, how's your ma? Your dad working? Oh, I tell you, he's working fucking flat out, checking the back of his eyelids around noon. Man after me old heart. But then they say, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, though, did it? Oh, apple didn't fall too fucking far from the tree, though, did it? You know what I mean? What's the crack anyway? We'll let it all. We'll let the room fill up with Friday night session merchants, and this is people from across the pond, man. We got people this side of the European vibe, and we got people on the other side in America. And you'd be doing well if there was some fucker watching from Australia now. Like you'd be doing awful well. It'd be morning time there. Hey, Oisin Campbell, where in the world are you these days, Buck? Still in fucking Stockholm, man. Still in Stockholm. To be honest with you, I've got Stockholm syndrome. Don't miss Ireland at all nowadays. Don't miss it. Even though if I went back, I'd be like, why didn't I go sooner? But I just, when I see the fucking daftness on Twitter and I see the politicians that are running the country and then the media that are just basically just kissing ass, I'm just like, they're fucking places. It's a joke, man. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. What did I say? Put in the comments what I said. It's a fucking joke. What is it? Someone write what it is. Go on. Lynn, some of these people have come from Stoke. You know, Stoke, that's where Slash was born from Guns N' Roses. Robbie Williams and thank you, Chris Perez, for getting in the mix there. I think that's it, really. I don't know any other famous people from LNS. It's a fucking joke, Martin. Good on you. Good on you, LNS. Fair play to you there. Heavy guns he brought with you. Oh, it's like when fucking Junior Soprano says to Tony Soprano, if you're going to come heavy and come hard. Yeah, Chris Perez, I know you'll buy a flight, mate. You've said this about 9 times today. If you want to come to Sweden, come to Sweden. You can do this. It's you go on the internet, you book a flight, and then you jump on a plane, and that will take you to Sweden. And then you, however you get in from the airport, then is up to you, mate. Do you know what I mean? Price of gas in LA is $7. $7 per gallon. And if I'm not mistaken, there's 5 liters per gallon. If it was like that here in Europe, I'd be like, fucking, that's the cheapest it's been since before 2007 when I started driving for proper. No autographs, all right, mate. I am aware of that. Did you not think I didn't know that? What's that tattoo you got there? Oh, that's Quentin Ham. Oh, the story about the tattoo, man. How many pits? It's 44 pits, which means how many pits are you? Some days my pits go down, other days the pits go up. Stephen Adler is after you very, very slowly. Who's Stephen Adler? Is he some sort of Nyler 9 enthusiast? Is he? Stephen Adler. Oh yeah, Steve Adler from. I thought that's who it was, but then there's the other fella, Jerry Adler, the other lad, Steven Adler. Apparently, he half of his face was numb because he was on the old speedballs and overdosed. But I mean, like, it's funny, like, who came up with the idea of mixing a complete upper stimulant with an opiate, which is a downer? I mean, like, it's like a thunderstorm inside your body. So it's fucking great crack. Smoking some Afghan Kush RN. Good lad, no autographs, man. Lads from Afghanistan would have sent that to other lads, and somehow it made it to yourself. Fair fucks. It feels nice though, says Chris Pez Power Productions. So what's the crack, man? Ask me anything, man. AMA, but not anything like. But just ask me some questions. Get the ball rolling in this biatch. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about situations, kind of situations, inflation, food shortages, fun stuff, pop culture, comedy shows, whatever you want, man. Whatever you want. Whatever you want, but do whatever you need. I fucking talk with the lads in the chat. Lads for free in the chat. Get that child out the truck. Oh shit, he can't leave formerly Aquarius. How you know, Martin? To see you, mate. Good to see you too, Shady Boy. I'm fucking thirsty up. No, it's not fucking mountains, man. Yeah, it's got mountains, all right. What's your favorite? Salt or pepper? You decide. Cool, man. I don't know if anyone's seen. There was an actual, a real rock show video. I think I shown it last time I was here. It was like, well, it's, I'm gonna cut down on the calories, just like totally hit up the rock shore. Rock shore lights. Real cool, man. Real fucking cool. Mikey and Higgins, I like Mikey. Lou. Good to see you, man. Over in Texas, there. Good to see you. You keep those fucking Second Amendment, boy. You fucking keep all of them fucking all the bastards. El Cid, where do you see the world in the next 10 years? I don't know, man. Everyone's going to be hooked up to some sort of cyber pod. Cyber. Rutger Hauer is Malcolm McDowell is being pursued by a cyberpunk from the past, played by Rutger Hauer. I don't know. I'd say it'll be it'll be pretty much like this, but things would have. It's either going to go one way or another. People are either going to finally fucking wake up to all the nonsense that's been foisted upon them from higher up, and then start pushing back, or else it's going to basically be worse than it is now. And if you consider the jump in technology since 2010, when I suppose when the iPhone, when that's when I first got an iPhone, to what an iPhone is today, you'd be like, it's the fucking same thing, really. It's funny when you look back to photographs of iPhones at the time, and they look bloody good, and they were good on the internet, but then all of a sudden they start looking shit. Have they deliberately like made them look shit? I don't know, man. I was talking to a lad at work the other day who was saying that it's a bit like when you try and play a Master System on a modern day TV and it looks shit, but if you were to play a Master System on a TV from the time the Master System was out, it would look really good even to this day. So, if any of you tech bods in the chat can elaborate on that hypothesis, then by all means, work away, work away. Cancerous attitude. Story, lad. How we getting on, brother man? MG's Motors. What is the best stateside quote from Hardy Books? I'm a great climber. I'm a beautiful actor. Don't know, man. It's just put them in the chat. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. Matthew Barry. People will only push back when a tiny vanguard advance forward and then they follow. A little bit like the wildebeest crossing over the Zambezi River. The first few lads, one or two will get taken up with the Crocs. Then the other lads will be all right, but the ones on the edges will be good. Streets of Rage or Shinobi? I would probably say Shinobi, Dr. David. I quite enjoyed that game. Many's a good time. It was like the Double Dragon of the Sega, really. It was the same format, two lads fighting baddies. It was up there with Golden Axe, which I actually completed a couple of years ago I had some sort of like emulator game on an Xbox, and then I think it was on an Xbox, but it had, all the Sega games. And I remember playing Golden Axe to the very end and completed it, which you couldn't really do on the Mega Drive as a kid. And all the characters burst out of the game. And then it's supposed to be in this real world. You see, they broke the fourth wall and they got out of the game. But it was inside an arcade game. I'm not sure if Golden Axe actually did have an arcade game, but whatever happened, they burst out. and it was in Japan, and there was a machine there that just said "doi doi," and I don't know what that means, but I always kept saying "doi doi" after. So make of that what you will, lads. You know what I mean? Cheeky boys. I'm on pill. Bon Jovi's only 5'3". I mean, like, I'm 6'1". I'm on pills for cheeky boys. All the drugs of Amsterdam. Owen Lennon and Evening All. And no autographs. No one knows you're here. No one knows you're here, Brian. Remember that. Oh, you'll be getting that all right. Get the thumbs up. Good on you, Mike. Remind everyone here to get the thumbs up. It'll be nice. It'll be tasty. I don't really know what we're going to talk about, but Mitchell Balzan, how are you getting on, man? Good to fucking see you in the mix. People who aren't familiar with this, if they're watching this I've often heard people saying that they didn't have a clue what I was talking about because I would keep just saying like people's, you know, YouTube handles out. And, but that's just, if they haven't figured it out by now, then they will never, never, never know this. Ooh, if you don't know me by now, if you don't know me. Mickey Hucknall, man, he got a lot of women for a man who looked like Annie, the girl who danced around the place in New York. I think she was a cleaner or something. I can't really remember. Another thing that someone put up on Twitter today that I remember that actually it was a thought that came to my mind about where wokeness came from. I remember a couple of years ago, probably about 9 years ago, Pennies, Top Shop, all these places, they started coming out with things like nerd, geek, dork, like self-deprecating kind of. It was cool to be on the outside. And I'm not knocking anyone who was on the peripheries of the popularity cliques in school or whatnot. I was always one of those lads who could happily hang out with the nerdy folk and have a good deep conversation with them, but also hang out with the nutters and yeah, the sporty people. And I was always kind of like get on with everyone, basically. But Glee, right, which the showrunner of that was a guy called Ryan Murphy. Weird looking dude, man. A lot of fucking sinister shit going on there. So he goes to those spirit cooking parties and sticks bananas up his ass while watching Henty. But I digress. That's only a hypothesis. But yeah, I think Glee. There was a nastiness to Glee, and I remember watching Freaks and Geeks then. It was shite. I was like, it sounds like it should be something funny. Watched it back in Sweden many moons ago, and I was like, the fuck was the big deal about this? Another one I didn't like was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I thought it was shite. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the film. I think Matt Dillon was in it, if I'm not sure. Some blonde girl who was tasty. The film was good, but then the series was shite, man. It was always like anytime you turn on BBC Two, it was like, now more Buffy on BBC Two. It was like, yeah, Buffy, man, yeah. Wasn't my cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? Wasn't into it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Write in the comment section what you think about Buffy. Smash that like button. How are you, Bastard Sprinkler? Good to see you, man. Brian M. Remember walking gingerly with Mick Hucknall and Bull Selector, Craig David, Dr. David. You know what they say about blind hookers? You really have to hand it to them. Well, you've heard the old chestnut. What did the leper say to the prostitute? Keep the tip. Shady Ganley, phone Aquarius. Smash that like button if you want to end the worldwide ignorance. Come on, fucking Ganley, hey. Paul O'Connell, the rugby player, good to have you with us. Evening, lad. How's the form? Didn't Martin McCutcheon puke into Mickey Hook's red dreads before? If you thought they smelled bad then, it would have smelled like smell of white and cheap perfume. Martin McCutcheon just barfed into my scalp and dreads. Mike Higgins, why can't I get the books on Netflix anymore, you ask? Well, you see, there was a contract there for 3 years and the contract has now run out, so unfortunately. Unless they apparently their stocks have tanked because a lot of the stuff is just fucking utter bollocks, mate. You know what I mean? Like they had an opportunity to give us lads a few quid. Nah, they didn't. They'd rather spend it on absolute nonsense. People are sick of it, man. People are sick and tired of just insincerity and just paint by numbers shite. Tidy Bird, that Buffy. Oh, you liked her, did you, Mitchell? Did you like the body work? Did you? Oh, powerful. Johnny Depp shit show distracting from Ghislaine Maxwell. Smash that like button if you stand with Johnny Depp, says Alan S. Yeah, I've seen some great highlights from the court case where the lawyer. I mean, Johnny Depp is a funny bastard, man. I've got a lot of time from after seeing that. He's like, "I'm going to pour myself a mega pint of wine, a mega pint." But and then it goes, there was a lot of drinking. We were going to get smashed drunk. Were you there? Is this your signature? I believe it looks like my signature. Is this your signature? Yes. Is this your signature? Yes, they are all my signatures. Am I reading this correctly? Yes, you're reading this correctly. Am I reading this correctly? Yes, I'm reading. You're reading this correctly. Am I reading this correctly? You are continuing to read them correctly. It was just so funny the way it was just so dry and getting loads of laughs from the people in the courtroom. Let's see what it says. Lulu says they're making too much bullshit shows and movies. Fucking Netflix has seriously gone down. Everything has gone down because all of these companies are owned by stakeholder shareholders such as BlackRock and Vanguard, and they're all basically singing off the same hymn sheet. Johnny Depp trial has been hilarious, talking about slipping Marilyn Manson pills so he would shut up. And he's like, there was a box with cocaine. It was a box that could fit cocaine. FML, good job. I got the first and second series on DVD. Just need the rest now. Got the movie twice open and one sealed. Good on you, Mikey. I've got one sealed over there. It's the only one I've got, but I've never opened it. Johnny Depp, the goat. Bastards. Mikey, what does it say here? Polly Joy, go on the Marty, saying hello from China. Yeah, Justin Trudeau is a sinister fucking odd character, isn't he, man? Do you know what I mean? He's one of these lads. He as the old saying goes, he's too wholesome. He's too sweet to be wholesome. And I think they're all starting to. Hiroshi Mack, good to see you. Love how things. Welcome to the party. Past Power Productions, the road goes, bro. Just got flapjacks. It's amazing. Not even the highest THC around. Just amazing. Just lads, just juiced up to the eyeballs on THC, CBD. There's even a CBG. Tried it. Doesn't do anything to you. Complete waste of time. Am I saying this right? Dreocht Riley. How are you getting on, Dreocht? Can you spell that phonetically for me, please? I never listened to an Irish class. Scratchy wouldn't teach me. Hey, you're too old. I won't teach you. So I never got to learn Irish. So cheers for that, Scratchy. God rest him. Died of a brain hemorrhage or an aneurysm, one or the other. But he was a very highly strong individual. THC Delta 9 is king. It sounds like something from RoboCop. Magic Riley, okay. Lulu, between Johnny Depp and Elon Musk buying Twitter, which is even weird because they were both dating Amber Heard, and then apparently Elon had a bit of a black eye. It was like, ooh, did he get where he was fucking talking when he should have been listening? Lulu, between Johnny Depp and Elon Musk buying Twitter, it's been a wild week. Can't believe people are freaking out like millionaires and billionaires didn't own it before. It's a very good point. I mean, like Vanguard stumped up a whole load. You know, it's like, you see, it doesn't matter that like things have been split so much, right? You have two kind of there's two sides of the camp. You have one side who are kind of like they basically uh, to let's say in the center of things, you have people who basically are kind of are wise to the fact that they're being bullshitted and lied to, and they're catching on. And then the other side then are in a kind of a state of absolute supported ignorant bliss. Um, you know, especially on Twitter, and I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference, but some people are saying about Elon Musk wants to have identification verification for users of Twitter, which I think is probably a good thing in many respects because, um, I mean, I don't understand. Like, yeah, they have these bots, right? And you're talking to, I mean, are they people who have multiple accounts, or are they basically AI engineered replies that just come up? I don't know. But it would explain why there's just so many shite takes on Twitter. Um, Amber Heard loves schlepping lads. Lulu, what's the politics all about? That's what politics is all about, dividing us. CM Fox, how are you doing, sir? Shanaman. Musk is going to say free speech on Twitter. It's all going to cost you $9.99 a month. I mean, I'm not paying for something, which makes you wonder. Like before the advertising kicked into Twitter, it wasn't really making a profit, really, was it? I think it's one of the only social media platforms that actually didn't make any profit whatsoever. But then again, that's just some stuff I heard in passing, so I don't know. Roshin Muk, how you doing? I was in a string quartet and we called ourselves Drocht. Someone will have to spell that phonetically though. Magic though, someone was saying. Bastard Sprinkler. Musk uploaded his sperm to the interwebs for future Neuralink breeding of Gail Platt. Not good. Not good. 1 second. I'm just going to text. Yes. Let me see. Amber Heard would want to shift the crowbar, as in crowbar from Hardy Bucks. Be like, oh, here, man, go with this fucking lovely Amber Heard, man. Johnny Depp's fucking missus, hey. Oh, here, talk about rough and tumble. She fucking slapped the shit out of me, man. But I was well able for it, man. I gave her 3 back. She never said nothing. She just kept taking it. Don't know what that's, this happens. Someone could watch them and go, how misogynistic. And I'm like, it's a fucking joke, man. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Bastards. I've got anger management problems. Explorer Wielder. Revenue has always been a problem for them. Patrick Keelty, thank you very much for the super chat, my man. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. Good to see you in the mix. Baj Mihaj, do you ever watch Young Ripper? I can't say I do. Roshi Mac, magic. We weren't magic. We were Q. It's a kind of magic. Dr. David, several expert witnesses expressed concern after she shat in his bed. No Jack's roll was found in the vicinity. Yeah, I mean, what was that about? It didn't look like it looked like a dry old shite. It had kind of darkened in color and looked quite dusty. It looked like a lump of ash. But I mean, what kind of couple goes around, filming each other all the time? I mean, it's just, again, I suppose one of those Hollywood sham marriages that you hear about, such as Troy McClure being married to Selma at times in The Simpsons. Is Tyson Fury inside here? Is he? So, that's it now. He's retired, but he might come back. I'd say, it's a bit like Motley Crue when they keep saying that they've done their farewell tour, but they keep coming back. So it's hard to know, really. Owen Lenahan. Hope Musk gives everyone a clean slate. Free speech won't help all of us. Kicked off. Won't go back with socks. My own name or bushed. Yeah, but then you got to look at he was also part of the World Economic Forum Young Leaders, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? And he's been working with Bill Gates, and as you know from this, can't stand the bastard. He's one of these fuckers who does these upside down grimaces. And like that's like, so you have grimacing, right? Which is basically when you're up to no good, and duper's delight when you lie, and then when someone is lying, they go. So he's an untrustworthy bastard. His dad was into eugenics, killed a lot of potential human beings with Planned Parenthood and whatnot because they're all part of this Julian Huxley eugenicist that goes back to the days of Darwin. And everyone's like, "What are you saying about Darwin? Evolution and science? Oh my God, what are you saying about my secular gods?" It's like, yeah, nutters funded by other nutters that basically help to remove human beings from the divine, whatever your version of the divine is. So that's my 2 cents on it. Hey, what the fuck do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. Expert Wilder, fucking batshit, man. Lulu, do you still do Twitter? Only account I see says you have used this. Yeah, no, I use just Eddie Durkin, but I'm fucking on it the whole time. Rory McDonald, the UFC fighter from Canada, says there's this thing called Twitch that apparently pays you in crypto for every tweet you do. And I was like, fuck me, the amount of time I'm on there, man, I'd probably make at least 15 quid a day. Do you know what I mean? Instead of being out working in a proper fucking job and making proper money. But instead I'm talking to cunts. I saw this, there was a brilliant one online earlier on where some guy, I can't remember his name, man, he was just one of these boomer American fucking, libtards who was like in his 50s, and he was like, "This is Kamala Harris. She's the most second powerful woman in the world. Give her respect." It was like, no, the woman's a fucking dickhead. The whole Biden administration is a fucking joke, man. It's a travesty. It's an embarrassment. But I'm not going to go into that. It's just objectively speaking, it's like those dickheads in England and Ireland. It just seems like mediocrity has taken over every government in the the developed first world, and they don't give a shit about the people that they're overseeing. They're put in there just to be figureheads as kind of middle management. You got Klaus Schwab, Gates, BlackRock, Larry Fink, all these fucking guys, whoever the hell's behind the scenes. This is what your country, whether it be Britain, Canada, England, Scotland, Ireland, Sweden, Belgium, France, wherever, you can rest assured that all of your political leaders have been chosen. And that's a really controversial thing to say for those people who believe in democracy and voting. But that's my opinion. I actually, at this stage, do not believe any of these elected leaders are actually legitimately voted. Same with referendums. It's like, how can you have faith in it when, as Stalin would say, doesn't matter who casts the votes. What matters is those who are counting it. And there will always be nutters at the top of power. That is as simple as that. It's that simple. I know it sounds very defeatist. It sounds very pessimistic, but once you know that, you can go forward with a more of a cynical, skeptical mindset when it comes to digesting the information that you've been presented with. Like, I'm not saying anything that different that Russell Brand would be saying, and he's doing that 5.5 million subscribers now. You know what I mean? You got it in one, Martin. Alan S knows what I'm talking about. Aidan Murta. How would you get your uncle to act so well in Hardy Books? Is it because he's fucking brilliant? Well, that's just how he is, man. It's he was always a master of ceremonies. He'd always be called up to lay a bit of lay some loquacious words over any ceremony to give it that je ne sais quoi. He is very. I should get him on the. I haven't fucking seen him for 2.5 years. I haven't been home for 2.5 years. Like, that's as long as I've ever been away, and I've been away for so long. I'm like, oh god, a bit weird if I go back. Like I was talking to Tommy Cagallan the other day at the Boo, and I went, what's things must be really different now. Things aren't much different at all. But I bet if I went over, it'd be like, that's closed. There's a bridge there. What the fuck is that? But you don't notice so incrementally. Um, you know, uh, Alan Keane, what's the crack, Durkin? Hope you're well, laddie. Fair balls to you, Keano. Shawneen, how are you, my man? Good to see you up in Beetlejuice territory. How's the Biden's new minister position for disinformation? Awful woman, just a fucking zealot. These people they're happy. Like, for me, I'm all about transparency and fairness. And these people are just happy that the crooks that just so happen to share their point of view. It's basically the same as if you've got a football team who were in, like, let's say, the Champions League final, and they were offside, but the linesman missed it. But then later on, you could see it was clearly offside. All right, okay, let's go into specifics. It's like being a fan of France in 2009 for the 2010 World Cup qualifiers, and you've just seen Thierry Henry handball and knock Ireland out of the World Cup qualifiers, and thus themselves, who are going to be knocked out, getting into the qualifier. And then going, hey, good lad Henry, fucking daft bastard missed it, handball. It's like that, but politically. Russell Brand can impregnate 12 Belgian women with one sperm. Fucking hell. Talk about splitting the diff. Ross Panucci, how are you doing, Ross? Good to see you, lad. Le Pen is mightier than the sword, says Shawnee. I mean, look, I don't really know. Everyone's always like, oh, Le Pen, far right. It just seems like everything that is against anti-establishment is far right. I'd be considered far right, even though I'm classically liberal. Do you know what I mean? I was always like, I always had a kind of, right wing. I was always like, and then you realize it's all bollocks anyway. What does it mean? It just basically means, you have a vested interest in the future of your offspring. You want to live in a nice community. You don't want to be fucking paying taxes that you don't know where the money's. Basically, if you don't like to be fleeced, if you kind of like things the way they were, if it ain't fixed, don't break it. Just basically how just fucking being someone who lived in the fucking 90s. You know what I mean? Everything else is kind of like shifted to fucking nuts land. And then, we just basically said, okay, I'm going to maintain my worldview here, which few years ago would have been considered, controversial to people who are of the conservative mindset. And it just seems like you've got fucking idiots talking shite on TikTok, um, with fucking purple hair and nose rings, and they're going like, "Yeah, yeah, so I'm like neurodivergent, poly." I was like, I talk to my students. It's like, how, you think back a couple of years ago, man, these kind of women would have been happy to have raised kids. Do you know what I mean? Having kids, you know, just had a husband, nice gaff, you know, had a nice bit of patio furniture out the back, got some raised a son, the odd holiday or two, drove around in a fucking Chrysler Voyager, whatever. Do you know what I mean? And they've done, as Buzz McDonald would say, they've had their minds washed out with shite, man. And I think there's definitely there's a war on both men and women. Do you know what I mean? It's just to confuse them and detach them from one another, and just like it's just confusion and it's muddying the waters, and it's completely unnecessary bollocks. I think the sexual revolution of the '60s has an awful lot to answer for. Like, um, you had World War One, complete fucking clusterfuck, destroyed like the flower of Europe. Then World War Two kind of finished off the second third of like the kind of the strong young men of Europe. And now what's left? These fucking psychopaths are trying to basically steer the world into a third world war, while also they're talking about food shortages. And like, I mean, we're getting to the point where it's just like, yeah, come on, pick up the gun, pick up the gun. It's like what Bill Hicks said. Imagine if Bill Hicks was around today, right, with the opinions that he had back then. Like, he'd be completely banned. He wouldn't get it anywhere. He wouldn't be on any kind of, he wouldn't be on Jimmy Fallon or fucking Jimmy Kimmel. You know what I mean? Brian Stelter. Um, Stop Putin's tanks. The rally boys could stop Putin's tanks. An aversion to authoritarian, left or right, exactly. Anything ascribing to be on any fucking side of this, any axis of this political spectrum, if it's too extreme, it's off balance. And I'm not being like, I'm an edgy centrist. I'm just like, just fucking keep it real, man. Stop being a weird. I mean, I think maybe the internet is amplifying a lot of these kind of like special nutcases and finding them. But I'm not sure if it's kind of like these people are also influencing other young minds, and it's becoming. Also think like basically, it is like the end of Rome. As I was talking to Chris Perez earlier on, I think we're kind of coming to a stage of where if you're born into a society where everything is already laid out for you and everything is given to you for free, and you don't understand, you don't even know where your crops and I'm not professing that I've got fucking ridges of spuds out the back garden, and I don't even have a back garden. I don't even know fuck all about cultivating vegetables. I do know it takes a long time, a lot of effort, and fucking caterpillars and pests and whatnot. But what I'm saying is, yeah, until a few years ago, I was basically I was the same mindset. I'd be like, oh well, I am the way I am because of society. But instead of like basically just going, well, that's no excuse. When there comes a time when you become an adult, yeah, some people have tough breaks as kids, but basically you've got to say, well, it's fucking up to me. I can't just be blaming society or other people for the way shit turned out, and it's about self accountability and voluntarism. It's quite simple. Let me see. Anyone in London on May 15th? Chris Perez is going over there, I believe. Lulu loves Bill Hicks. Any more updates on Hardy Bucks 5? Well, there's something in the pipeline today, and the first episode was written. That's all I will say. All I will say. Bastard Sprinkler 2000. Hicks and Carlin are in the ground with O'Leary. They will never be anyone like him again. Well, there will. There will. I mean, when you think about, there's so much low hanging fruit to take the piss out of, man, and I think people really do need to take the piss. I think because it needs to be laughed at. Getting into trouble, like people should be getting into trouble for making fun of things. It's the whole point of being a fucking comedian. You can't please everyone. But what's happened is comedians, especially, they'll earn a certain amount of money, and then they'll be like, "No, I can't say that, or I won't be able to work." Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's not funny, man. I mean, you're supposed a comedian's job is to provoke thought and you know de-escalate tension through humor. Tommy Shelby said, "Go too far right or too far left, you'll end up in a circle." Well, that's actually what's happened, to be quite honest with you. Haven't been on TikTok yet and never will be. I started an account there and I was just like, "Ah," and people are saying, "Oh, I should get on TikTok." And I'm like, why? I don't have that urge to have a whole load of followers, man. I'm not, I feel quite fulfilled with the amount of things I have going on in my life that I really don't need to be affirmed by likes. And so just hit that fucking like and subscribe button. I really could do it. No. But you know what I mean? It's like it just becomes I see people who are on it all the time. It's like becomes an obsession. And I spend enough fucking time on bloody Twitter, which is a waste of time, but it's kind of like crack to a brain like mine. It's like, ugh. And then afterwards, it's like, why did I do this? Ian McGarr, hello to you too, sir. Stay green, pony boy. What? First episode. Oh, yes. Just patience. Good things come to those who wait. Will this be a return of Scorpio Lions? If he's around, I'll have to have a word with him. Hardy Books News. Today's a good day. Good man, Lulu. And it's going to be independently funded as well. So it's going to be just fucking close to the knuckle, sailing close to the wind, up your batty, both barrels. Some bombshell. You better believe it, Lewis Scott. Comedians getting slapped isn't good. Well, some of them, yeah. Ian McGaw, I thought Hardy Books writing was a group thing. Well, where's, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write them, present them, and then be like, well, what do you reckon? And then let them add them, sprinkle the magic on the top. Aiden Murta, but I shouldn't have blabbed too much there. Shouldn't have blabbed too much. Let me see. CM Fox, it's like these silly pricks are saying Russia is finished. They're on the ropes. Do these people know anything about history? The Russians lost 20 million plus in World War II and still took Berlin. CM Fox, that's a man who knows his history. I mean, you had like the fucking hellscape that was Stalingrad and Leningrad, where basically the only resources during the siege of the Wehrmacht against the Soviets, everything went into the munitions factory so bad that people had to boil wallpaper and the paste to try and get any nutrition out of it. So wallpaper soup is what people had to eat. That was after they'd eaten pets and God knows what not. And then you look at if you want to go into Ukraine's history, yeah, the Holodomor, the famine under Stalin, where like 10 to 20 million people were kept in and starved to death. Like, haven't those people been through enough shit without fucking American neocons starting this bullshit fucking war? And then it was like, solely blaming Russia. I mean, like, this has been isn't it funny how 4 years with when Obama's out and Trump was in, no wars, and everyone was like, oh, they basically turned into what they said he was going to do, and that's called projection, where they blame someone else for doing what they did. And it's not a controversial take. It's basically an objective take. It's where I look at things, and I'm not a thick bastard. I spend a lot of time looking at this. I don't know why. But yeah, this is just like they were going to be like, oh, the game show host, fucking hotel rude man who says mean things is going to fucking start World War III. He didn't actually. He minimized all that bollocks. Again, he's not without criticism at all. I'm not saying that. He's a lot of no-show jobs down in Jersey, Atlantic City, beautiful. Let me see. Owen Lennon. Most comedians, even the edges, keep it clean enough because they're hanging out for a sitcom or movie. Norm Macdonald was great at not playing that game. Yeah, and that's why he was brilliant. He's a real loss to the comedy community. Alan S. Ireland is fertile ground for fresh, hardy books, satire, and comedy. It's fucking so overdue, man. It's so overdue, and it's going to come from here out there. And I promise you, it's been 5 years since I wrote any episodes. And today I wrote a full episode. Never happened before. And I tell you one thing, after I do this after I do this this live stream, I will be going back and I'll be writing more. Then after that, I'm going to finish the next Hardy Books podcast, the Hardy book as well. So yeah, I'm working away, making ends meet and getting this thing off the ground. And it's all about time management. I have a lot going on. I have the kids half the time, working the other time, and then spending fucking too much time watching YouTube and Twitter. But we've all got our vices, right? Brian M, is it true the Hardy book started out as prank calls messing around on Bebo? Yes, but it wasn't messing around on Bebo. It was just that they got leaked, and then it went to kind of Bebo as well. How does one become a neocon and start being rich? They're already rich through just nepotism and weirdness. No autographs. What do you think of the situation in China now? Good question. No autographs. Well, I see NATO are trying to do some sort of Pacific theater, and I had a discussion with a friend of mine who's high up in the Swedish military, and I didn't really kind of talk about it that obviously with him about what my opinions were on it. Look, at the end of the day, I'm anti-war. That's my stance. I don't see the point in people being killed for the interests of the elite, and that's how it always is. Though propaganda has always been there to be like to always create a narrative to make people feel better about the state-sanctioned slaughter and murder of other human beings. Yet being anti-war is an act of being anti-establishment, and for some reason nowadays the edgy youth have somehow been co-opted to be supporting of the establishment. And I think this came after 2012 or 2011 Occupy. It got subverted, and next thing it's like all these like financial institutions started like getting really into like pride and just being seen as being, oh look, we're all oh, we're not corporate greedy bastards, we support minorities and whatnot, because they don't give a fuck about minorities. They don't give a fuck, they really don't. It's just about basically, let's latch onto these certain groups and foment this, make out that we're allied with them. I mean, they've got their greasy fucking tentacles and everything, man. Have you seen Gonzalo Liro lately? Yeah, he showed up. He looked a bit shook, and he wasn't talking about what happened. He was on the Duran with your man Alexander Christophou, is it? Would you have slapped Will Smith back? Yeah, fucking too right. I would have. I wouldn't have just slapped him back. I would have given him a straight left jab, ducked and countered with a bone crunching liver shot. That was if he didn't, I would have been, I would have gauged it, but he definitely would have got an open handed slap back. And I would have said, get back to your fucking seat, man. Take this outside later. And if you wanted to go toe to toe on the stage, I would have done it, man. You know what I mean? And afterwards, would have hugged it out, went to the bar, done some fucking waffle dust, and just like double teamed the wife, whatever. Ain't nothing wrong. It's Hollywood. Sampino bought 2 Nelk Boys NFTs. Yeah. Saints and Scholars, word up. CM Fox, would be have been ironic if Gonzalo Lira was taken to the cellars under the Avastal, but they let him go by the looks of it. Yeah. I think the optics of that would have been terrible for it just wouldn't look good, to be honest. And there would have been an outcry, definitely from Chile. I don't know, America. They would have, they already had people from the Daily Beast smearing it. Like Ian McGar, people act like all the Russians are loving the war. They're not. They're also innocents being forced into it. Yeah, exactly. And very poor people being forced into it. Like yesterday, I mean, the amount of, if you go onto Intel, what is it, Slava Intel Z, the amount of dead bodies you'll see, you know, it's fucking horrible, man. Like I saw a load of like the Russians had killed a load of Ukrainians in battle, and then I felt really sad because I saw a picture of one guy who had a picture of his daughter in a photograph beside him, and it's like it's families, man. Do you know what I mean? They're human beings who had a whole backstory. There's another guy who was just blown up. Another dead guy. His guts are hanging out, and they're all swollen, and his shoe came off. And it sounds really weird, man. But once you've had kids, you start looking at human beings in a very different way. Well, I personally do, in terms of like you start thinking about these adults when they were babies and when they were small children, and then you realize that these people belong. These are people's fathers or people's, brothers or sisters, and sons, daughters, and they're brought into these conflicts by truly fucking evil parasitic people. And whatever our time here on the planet, the older I get and the more kind of philosophical or metaphysical I get about it, I think, life, we have enjoyed a good standard of life thus far in 20th century. Obviously some people have been in combat veterans and have seen, or some people have had addiction problems, or homelessness, or general hard times, or some form of abuse, or being bullied or whatnot. But as a sum of its parts, we have lived in some of the most prosperous times in history, and that's the way I would like to keep it. But obviously, more wants more, and the greedy fuckers at the top will will stop at nothing. Doesn't matter the human cost. And you know, I don't think what I'm saying is wrong. I'm coming from a good place, and basically, I think all these conflicts are resolvable through dialogue. But even though I was talking to Chris earlier on about this, it's like, I was saying your fucking continuation of government is what brings you into endless wars, because who's the real winner out of this? Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, they're the ones who are producing. I just don't understand what is going on there. In it seemed like there was so much. You know, the State Department has been in there. Then Trump came to power. Didn't stop the shelling of the Donbass region, because that was going on for 8 years. But like much like the Syrian news, it's old news. Like Yemen, it's just, or Libya. It's not like it ended as soon as people, or Iraq, that people became disinterested. It's just like that's how it is. Um, okay, let me see. BlackRock and Vanguard are always 10 steps ahead. Yeah, they really are, man. The things, people do not understand what these holding companies are, who the CEOs are, who their shareholders are. They don't know this because they're looking at figureheads. Apparently, Larry Fink is one of the main funders of the World Economic Forum, and he's the CEO of BlackRock. They're all in it together. And as George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't it. Ed Sheeran in Cork hitting up the tunes, man. Fair play to Ed Sheeran. He has no backline. It's just him and the loop pedal. Man must be fucking coining in. He's probably got his assets held by BlackRock. Shawnee, and the whole enemy of my enemy is my friend is utter shite. Well, that's what the Taliban were against the Russians in Russia. It was like, let's just fund these mujahideen, and then when the time came to get to, they became the enemies of the state then as well. Five across the eyes. I don't know what that means, Shawnee. Those two Nelk NFTs are the next budgets. Nelk boys. Alan S. Absolutely. Like the 60s, counterculture movement, Occupy movement was subverted and psyoped into pro-establishment status quo. Yeah, I was down there at the time, 2011 in New York, and I remember seeing this one. I've said this loads of times, but I've seen this one guy, a photograph of him somewhere, and it just says fart smeller movement. And there was like pictures of him like going up to men and women's asses, just going. And it's like, these are one of these lads who were just basically paid to go down there and discredit anything. Like, it was a bit annoying. It was like, we have demands, we have demands, we have demands. I was like, God, it was a bit fucking Tim Pool for my liking. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit like, you know, rich kids from Berkeley, going up against their parents, basically, or Columbia. All this shit usually comes out of Columbia as well, Columbia University. People, government, and vice versa. Yeah, people should be the government should be afraid of the people. Otherwise, it's a fucking tyranny, man. And what's happening in the States is edging closer towards it. Usually, always the poor and innocent that die for nothing too. Quite right, absolutely. It's like the World War II. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, the Germans were all bad. No, there were people who were, yeah, you're fucking National Socialist hardliners, assholes. Do you know what I mean? And there's a really good audiobook you should check out, man. It's fucking crazy. I started listening to it there before Christmas. And this fucking man, you just like they're just regular lads who are just, your nation is at war. If you don't join the war, you're gonna get fucking put in jail. And so it's basically jail and disgraced or whatever the fuck the forfeit was, or go and fight on the Eastern Front. And these poor fuckers on the Eastern Front you're fighting, some of them don't even have weapons. It's basically they're just throwing like the nice advantage I've had about living in Sweden for so long is the fact that I had a very good when I went to Swedish school, I was in I was in a class with maybe like 20 different nationalities, and you would all talk about your culture. So we had people from Iran, from Cuba, from Chile, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Lithuania, Poland, and we had a really nice, Indonesia, place like this, and we had a really nice bond with everybody. It was like a nice little family, and I learned a lot about different cultures, and I meet people every week, or nearly every day. I meet people from different parts of the world here, and I get on with nearly everybody. And you imagine that these people, some of these people from two different regions who are at war, are forced in battle to kill each other. Where if they'd met each other under peaceful circumstances, they get on brilliantly. But when you hear about what a fucking mad prick Hitler was, for example, when he wouldn't surrender the Eastern Front, and that the Wehrmacht, because they were such a good offensive force, they didn't have in the officers' training, they didn't have any form of successful retreat. So all those guys, like the Sixth Army, after the hell that they endured in Stalingrad, were just cut off. And then I think about 300,000 of them were sent to the Gulag, and I think only about like 8,000 of them returned alive. And it's like the Russian people, like I said, they were, you know, the horrors that they endured. It's fucking crazy. And for what? You know, I don't know. I don't like the idea of war, man. I used to think it was really cool when I was younger because you'd be watching fucking like Platoon or Hamburger Hill, and you'd be like, "Cool, man." And then you realize that this isn't. I saw there was this guy called Andrew Hill who was an English volunteer over in Ukraine. Didn't get paid. Didn't even. He had to pay his own way there, so he's not even a mercenary because he didn't get paid. He's not even a soldier, but he got caught by the Russians, and yeah, he's like, when can I go home?" He's like, "Well, you're not going home, mate. You should have thought about that when you fucking started engaging in a foreign." It just seems like the imagery of it is just so intense, man. It's really weird. Like I have this is nothing against the Ukrainian people. It's nothing against the Russian people. It's the people who are running the show that are gladly fucking using their own people as a meat wall, to basically send them to their fucking deaths I don't get it, man. Not into it. Saints and Scholars been looking into 1930s writing of Father Dennis Fahy. He predicted the Ukraine stuff. Oh yeah, Dennis Fahy, man. Apparently he predicted an awful lot of shit that's come true. Paj Mahaj, where's the next movement, like punk movement of the 70s or the rave movement of the 90s? It's all it's all been corporatized and it's subversive, but it's not subversive in a way where it's coming from the ground up as a reaction. It's top down subversion. There's nothing organic about it, man. But it's not sustainable. I mean, it can't go on like this until people are gonna eventually wake up and go, what the fuck is happening here? Like, hey, vegan programmer, how you doing, Carl? Hey, Martin, hope your week's been good. Cheers, man. I seen your message. I meant to get back to you on Instagram, but I've been fucking terrible at getting back to any of the platforms lately. But link up, man. What's up? Same with Dr. David. Sam said for the real first NFT, he got a guest into some VIP event with Nelk Boys in Miami. Tell the Nelk Boys, man, to throw a few quid into the fucking budget, lad. Saints and Scholars, I love your channel. Yeah, I must check out your channel as well. Vegan program. Let me see. No more brother wars. Oh, no more fucking wars. Full stop, man. It's not like we're past. Like I think even Russell Brand was saying that. Like, are we not past the stage of fucking industrialized bloodshed? It's almost like these fucking psychos are slather. It's basically like having. Let's say you're a kid and you go into a house and it's got an air rifle. You're gonna want to shoot the air rifle. because it's good crack. You want to fucking shoot stuff with the air rifle. You've got generals and military leaders that have all this fucking technology that's never been used before. It's like, please, we just need a little bit of just a little war somewhere. El Cid, I've been listening to some Fahi lately on defeat modernism, I think. Drill is awful, Paj Mahaj. It's fucking shite. It's just not. It's just that's my opinion. I'm basically in their eyes. I'm an old man, a fucking middle-aged man. You know what I mean? So, but I still appreciate craftsmanship. There doesn't really seem to be much craftsmanship at all. Did you hear Kimbo McNally is coming for a 555? What exactly does that mean? Me and my brother have been trying to crack that one for years. Kimbo McNally. It's basically based on Kimbo's lives, and I think maybe I'd seen some replica of a Subaru Impreza that someone had been driving around, just said 555 in yellow. So I was like, Kimbo McNally's coming for a 555. Sometimes we just literally say whatever came to the top of our head. Lick out beast. Well, price of diesel's gone up anyway. It'll continue to do so. It won't come down. CM Fox, only the dead have seen the end of the war. That's very true. At least it's over for them in one way or another. I sleep with my air rifle, says Best Power Productions. War is all started by a few international twats that don't get on sending everyone's dad, brothers, and uncles, etc., to die for fuck all reason. Governments, friendships are forever changing. Yeah, it's just I really think like there has to be some sort of unseen spiritual thing. Maybe the Bible is true. Maybe it is a battle between God and Satan. And the true battleground lies within the soul of the individual. Who knows? Maybe God and Satan are basically maybe the Bible. I don't know. Maybe it was a way to kind of crystallize the power of good and evil in the world in a way that people could understand it in a story form. But there's definitely some sort of metaphysical power, dark matter, light matter, whatever. But it's basically good and evil, and it's I think it boils down to that. But the worst part is evil that masquerades as good, because that's even like at least those who they show their true colors. At least you can see them. It's like I suppose what Malcolm X said. It's like the difference between the fox and the wolf. The wolf will come with its full intentions, where the fox, he looks like he's smiling. So white liberals he was talking about. I wonder what Malcolm X would say if he could see things today. Be very interesting. Come on, Eddie. Pull yourself together, lad. JK. Is that JK from Jamiroquai, is it? The devil is cunning. Well, the greatest trick he ever did. Just made people believe he didn't exist. Kevin Spacey. And look at him. A wrongin'. But we're nearly at the hour now. We're nearly at the hour. And it is the midnight hour. After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang down. After midnight. Yeah, but that's the annual 6 featuring Boy George, man. I like Aphex Twin Ambient Works, says Alan S. A lot of people used to come up to me when I had the long hair when I was younger, and they'd be like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? Are you playing a gig, man? What's the crack?" And they always thought I was, they always thought I was Richard D. James. I looked a bit like him, I suppose. Malcolm X and Commander Rockwell have mutual respect for each other. Who's Commander Rockwell when he's at home? Who is he? I'm going to go and get a glass of water, man. I'm fucking gasped out of it. 1 second. Hold on. Oh, it was nearly as good as the Pittsburgh Creamer. I met Boy George on tour once, and he was awesome, lovely. Isn't Boy George? His parents are Irish, aren't they? Come, 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 chameleon. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. I'm at the bar, my stop away. Man say, who, yeah. Red, gold, and green. Do you remember that bit in Commando where it's like, what is this about Boy George? It looks more like Girl George. That was Arnie as Matrix. You leave anyone for us, Matrix? No, just bodies. Arnold Schwarzenegger turned into a real letdown, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? It's like real fucking hero growing up, and then he's like, screw your freedoms. And then like with his like scripted propaganda, in recently, it's a bit shitty when you find out that your like your childhood. I mean, when you think about it, like the 80s and the 90s, it's when like Hollywood was at its peak, and no one. I mean, I'm sure people who were older had like, but as a kid, you just did. I just lacked any. Whenever a film would say based on a true story, I'm like, it was fucking true, man. It was true. Oh, did you not know that film was true? Based on a true story, it'd be like you can see what they can do with editing news footage or reality TV and call it reality TV. Imagine what you can do with a loose fucking story. But I guess Arnold shaking my head. Yeah, Arnold's a bollocks now. Yeah, man, he's just saying that. There's a picture of him years ago dressed up in some weird silky gown. He had like Warren Buffett and Lord Jacob Rothschild, and you're like, ah, yeah, he's fucking right in the middle of the establishment, man. They're all into fucking eyes wide shut, weird shit, sick shit. That's what this is, weird voodoo black magic, sick shit. Fucking quiz. Mr. Galtieri, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Oh, yeah? What have they been saying? Do you really want me to say in front of all these people? That was one of, that scene in Sopranos where Paulie goes to the medium. Paulie, he's always going to be amazing, right? But the guy who plays the psychic, like, whoever he was, he was just beautiful. Like, I've watched this so many times that you can actually see in his face that he's trying not to laugh just because the situation's so fucking good. I wonder if Alex Jones will get his Twitter back. The bullfrog of liberty. Don't know, man. How many no-show jobs you got this week? Hey, T, why am I here all the time? It's fucking union stuff going on strike. The demeanor of the physique is class. Who's that on Paulie Walnuts or the other lad? John Pagano. There's more. He says you were his first. He was your first. Who you been fucking talking to? I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Oh, yeah? Hey, when I count my mortal sins and all my venial sins, hey, I'm looking at about 5,000 years. And an eternity in purgatory, 5,000 years is a walk in the park. Like, I love the way Paulie Walnuts, even though he was only on the planet for about maybe 50 odd years at the time, he was going to do 5,000 years of torment standing on his head. That's the kind of, like, that was the fortitude and the mentality of Paulie Walnuts. So, well done, Paulie. When Paulie dresses down his priest, or when he throws the mother's TV out the window and he finds out, I'm sorry, you're dead to me. And then later on, that the woman comes in whose husband used to have the waste disposal place, and he's like, Tony, please. And then Paulie's just there outside going, what the fuck's wrong with you? You've been acting all fucking weird lately. You left me unprotected out there. Not one, not a fucking another dime. Some other really fucking funny bits of Sopranos I was watching recently. Oh, I've got to watch it again. I did have a code to my mate's HBO but I've lost it. I'm not gonna like. I don't have the time to sit there, and well, I do because I'm just watching shit on YouTube all the time. But it's like I don't have the attention span to just sit and watch loads of American TV shows anymore. Can't you see? I've been working as a lumberjack. The snow episode, the Pine Barrens. Paulie breaks his mother's heart through horrible character development. I wish I watched Sopranos back in the day to get all these references. Well, listen, you can always watch them now, man. You mean you can go to like F movies or something and get all the episodes for free. Poison Ivy. Yeah, I'm fucking covered in this shit. Sopranos is like one reason me and Sam are friends. I used to go to his house on Sunday nights to watch it. I used to go out with this Italian American girl called Brit Mazzola, and we'd always have these Sopranos pizza nights on a Sunday around hers in Brooklyn. And it turns out your man Patsy Barisi played Patsy and was it Patsy and what was the other brother called? There was one of them who died, um, but he was actually she was friends with his son, and he was actually a teacher in the local school in Bay Ridge. But he's an interior director. He's an interior decorator in Czechoslovakia. Mikey Higgins, thanks for the super chat, my man. And any of your Mars out there that want to fucking give this fella an old tip for spilling me guts, for further blackballing myself in the society known as legacy media, mate, I'll take any fucking donation. Hit me up on the old Maloney's Digest, the PayPal. Much love to yous. I do feel a bit like I've definitely like lads like you and McKenna and myself were in the mainstream and just couldn't keep the mouth shut. It was just like, well, like I said before, man, I'd rather fucking keep it real than take me bag of silver and be trying to claw myself out of my own head out of frustration. You know what I mean? I see McGahern's got fucking flags in the pronouns now on fucking Twitter. McGahern, man, what's going on, lad? What happened to you? Fucking RTE, man. I don't give a fuck if I ever go on there again. That's the God's honest truth, man. The shit they've been pulling, talking about fucking banning cutting turf. It's something that Irish people for millennia have been doing as a way of life. The stories that my dad has, nostalgic tales of the corncrake, the swallow, the bumblebee, the heather, the bogland, the sitting on the back of the trailer as kids, the footing the turf, bringing the turf home, stacking it in the shed. It sounded like shite crack, but he had a lot of good stories from it. That was back in the day before consoles, phones, entertainment, where basically a bit of graft with your family was quality bond up time. Scotched egg, ploughman's pickle, cheese sandwich, bit of tunion, and I'll wash down with an old Botley and a Guinness then. That was before Guinness had nitrogen in it, do you know what I mean? Kevin E. Murphy, how are you doing, Kevin E? Good to see you, lad. Jack Aylward, when's Hardy Boys coming back? Yup, you'll see one day, brother man Jack. See one day soon, hey. Jackson Avon, Martin, how are you doing, Jackson? Good to see you. Johnny O'Sullivan, stay with the Johnny, stay with the Johnny. How are you getting on? Simcard is hosting the worst comedy show on RT on Mondays. I've seen clips of it, man. Look, this is no Jason Bourne was on it. It's usual fucking wheel them out, man. Wheel them out. Tell you one thing, if I was on there, I'd be telling some fucking home truths. That's why I wouldn't be on there. It'd be like, no, you can't be on it. Please don't come on it. But why not, man? Look, you're a bit too spicy on Twitter and your YouTube channel. Like, no, go on, get on, man. Get on it. And then I would probably try and think of a story that you just couldn't edit around. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I'd actually prepare something, a conundrum, so spicy, so thought-provokingly funny, yet edgy, that, fucking Joe Duffy would be in the next day going, and what was it? Oh, God, and they pushed it that far, did he? And do you know anything about him? Oh, God, isn't that awful? Fucking Joe Duffy, man. The fuck is wrong with this? The fuck is wrong with Ireland, man? It's the fucking land of mediocrity. Breaks me fucking heart, man. There was strong fucking lads with fists like that. You know what I mean? My old lad and Big Mick have even bigger fists. Big fucking Gales. Do you know what I mean? Celts who are mixed with Norsemen and whatnot. And to see the fucking state of the country now, man. Cunts. Fucking places run by Silicon Valley banking bastards. LinkedIn merchants. People who write fucking nonsense about themselves on LinkedIn in the hopes of getting more work, more handy money. Fuck off, the lot of you. And I wouldn't mind saying this pure fucking sober, man. Because I'm a salty bastard. Salty old bastard, that's what I am. Bitter old salty bastard dressed as a lumberjack. Bastards. Fucking bastards. Fucking took the trains away, the cunts. I fucking do time for any bastard. Any bastard. I tell you fucking something here now, lads. What they fucking did to fucking Mayo, man. Bastards. Fucking William Butler Yeats job. Fumbling in a greasy till, the cunts. The power-craving man sitting on his chair. That the cunt. Sorry about that, lads. I got in deep there, man. The Green Party, man. There was that fool. What's his name? Eamon fucking Ryan. That man. He couldn't run a fucking bath. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does a man like that get into any position of leadership? How does yeah, Radker, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's going over here. So show my support and solidarity for this. Going over there. Yeah, no, everything's fine. Yeah. Fuck off. Fucking greasy they're Ludramons. They're shite, man. To think the likes of fucking Pork Pierce, James Connolly, Daniel O'Connell, Michael Collins, fuck De Valera, man. He was a bit of a fucking gumbean for all intents and purposes. But just lads who were just like, fuck this crack, man. I've had enough of this bollocks. Do you know what I mean? People who fucking gave their life in the GPO and other skirmishes across the country. Just because they were like, this is depressing. Lads who were promised home rule if they went and fucking got butchered in the Somme and then Flanders and Passchendaele, Gallipoli. You know what I mean? I'm fucking rambling. Bastards on fucking Twitter then. Bastards. Okay, what to say here? It looks like I'm about to go and do some log work. Fucking the hatchet to be out next, boy. South Dublin is telling rural people how to live. Ah, yeah, should have fucking. It's those wankers in the Green Party back in, I think it was like 2005. They were like, oh, let's charge anyone who's got a big car. We'll charge everyone across the country, even farmers who need like a 5-door pickup truck. Oh, that's still classed as tax. Yeah, fucking Paddy will fucking put up with it. Like doesn't matter. There's no pushback. There's absolutely no pushback at all. Like, I remember talking to Big Mick in real life about it years ago, and he's like, I tell you what it's like now. It's like the way they're fucking taxing us. It's like trying to fucking stand on top of an upside down bucket and lift yourself up by the handle. Shawnee, thanks very much for that. A fiver so you can set about on the wokesters at RTE. Oh, man, there's no way they're fucking having me back there. Like, I don't want to go back. The only thing was, it was in the beginning, like, it was a nice touch of fucking upfront coin, the likes I'd never fucking seen before. Hey, oh, but the fucking good days are gone. Unless somehow I fucking shit changes and I'm a talented performer, but it's basically in Ireland it's all who you know, and Superhands would say who you blow. The Greens are full of pedos and communists. Fuck them. Fucking bastards. Bastards. The fucking, it's a couple of years ago, man. It was, it was expected. This is the right side of the freaking mic. But you know what I mean? It's like none of these leaders care about their people. They don't care about their fucking countries. There's no loyalty. They care about this and the bitching the power and control they have. Bunch of tosses and RTEs. There's a lot of sound people in RTE as well, man. You know what I mean? I'm not shitting on the whole thing, but Just whatever the fucking crack is in the last couple of years, man. It's just like a lot of big opportunities missed. You know, the reluctancy of, I mean, it's amazing that they actually took the punt on us, to be honest. What do I think about Elon Musk buying Twitter? Don't know. If he's if his intentions are genuinely good, fair enough. I mean, because it has been blatantly obvious that certain voices and opinions have been heavily promoted over others, and there's no balance on like Twitter is not a place for nuance. They need to change this 180 character shit, man, because it's fucking annoying. The way the replies are as well are intentionally designed to be ambiguous as to who you're replying to. Waltzing Matilda, Grunket. When I was a young man, I carried my pack and I lived a free life of a rover. From the Moori's green basin to the dusty outback, I waltzed my Matilda all over. And in 1915, my country said, son, it's time to stop rambling, 'cause there's work to be done. So they gave me a tin hat, and they gave me a gun, and they sent me off to the war. Bastards. Let's see, where you know. The Greens in Germany are the party of the foreign minister, literally politicians that signing the checks to send weapons to kill people. They want to preserve trees, but not the human race. That's the funny thing about all these woke people. But it's funny because they're like that dickhead who Joe Biden has employed for the DHS Ministry of Truth. She's going around with all these you know, sunflower emblems, which is basically some bullshit. I don't know, like it's probably one of these, some fucking think tank movie writer wrote this. Oh, be sure to bring a whole load of sunflower seeds so when you die, your dead body fertilizes it. It's like, so these same people who are claiming to be like fucking woke and virtuous are happy with bloodshed, bloodletting. Do you know what I mean? The fuck's wrong with people? In one way or another, it'll be fucking visited upon them. Because for every action, there's an equal reaction. Let me see, lad. What do you think about the big Elon Musk? I said, I watch the Hottie Books internet show most nights. Can't be beat. On fucking Mikey and Boy. It's the fucking stuff. All about the claw wedge. Money in the claw. The Yankee dollar, the frog skins, the greenbacks, the Lincolns, the Green Queens. Roshi Mac, hey, talk to you. My mother's and she was watching the Late Late Show that left the room. Cannot stand that shite. It's just like that fucking show should be disbanded, man. I mean, I don't understand like why it's still even a thing. I mean, it's usually just a fucking revolving door for people in RT just to come on. Dr. David, which of the Sword Doctors is the best at shifting? Pierce Doherty, the bassist, man. He's got class shifting skills like this. He's so quick. Dismantle RT only save Michelle Dillon. Who's that when she's at home? It's like BBC, man. It's like, let me see, RT gets. Look, I'm not. I don't know. I feel a bit conflicted because look, RTE, it's not the same RT as it was. It used to be fusty and it was like, and that now, tell me, yes, it was that kind of stuff. And for a while there, RT was sound. Do you know what I mean? But now it's just fucking gone into goo goo land, and I think it's because Simon Coveney's brother, Simon Coveney being a Bilderberg member, his brother is actually the head of political affairs. You know, it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like, I saw a documentary, so I can't remember the name of it. There was a guy called Jonas Nilsson who did it, and it's basically kind of a continuation of like Monopoly, Who Runs the World. But like it talks about like, you know, your Vanguard, your BlackRock, and most of these companies are basically their HR department is run by people who are affiliated with like BlackRock and Vanguard and Citadel, Berkshire Hathaway, State Street, all these fucking knobheads. Oh man, decentralization is the only way, man. You just got to try and somehow decouple from it. Oh, Jedward here. Jedward are known for their overzealous use of tongues when kissing ass. Oh man, I don't know if you've seen that thing. It was like, glory, glory, Ukraine. President Zelensky, Ireland stands with you. It's like, I don't understand, but Jedward are always in support of the current thing. I mean, they're basically, I think what needs to be done going on from here on in is Jed would need to be memed instead of the NPC bot. Use Jedwood. I want to see memes floating around of Jedwood supporting the current thing, but with like QR stamps and needles and flags, and you know what I mean. I think Jedward are the personification of establishment current thing. They're kind of like on the other end of the. They're basically it's like a Hydra, and some of the different heads that come out. Piers Morgan is part of the same monster, but on one of the other heads you've got like Jedwood, which is basically one head split into two smaller heads. Um, but it's amazing to watch Irish NPCs mesmerized by RTE, fucking spellbound by mediocrity. What an amazingly profound comment there. It's just the mediocrity, man. That's kind of like the Ministry of Truth crap is scary. You shouldn't be scared of it, man. You should be like, fuck off. I'm not like people need to stop consenting to this shit. And the mainstream media, what it does is it manufactures consent. Savage Eye is fucking brilliant, man. Dave McSavage is a funny bastard, man. And he's I think myself and himself are cut from the same cloth, definitely. Audio is a bit choppy.